It's the 25th of July 1909. Several weeks back, the Daily Mail newspaper in the UK offered a £1,000 cash prize to the first person to cross the English Channel by air. Some have tried, but none have succeeded. Charles Joseph Blériot is about to become world-famous aviator, but first, he has a challenge at hand. He has to fly his Blériot XI plane across the water. So hey there, Drawyah here, and welcome to Microsoft Flight Simulator. Today, taking flights in the Blériot XI, on the flight sim here just outside of Dover to the UK, just outside of Calais, to Dover. So, flight time, no idea how long the flight time will be, about 50-ish minutes I'd say, from start to finish. And yes, flying in the classic Blériot XI aircraft. So this thing was built back in 1905. It predates conventional controls for starters, and so should be a lot of fun kind of going through the airplane, how it works, and the different features that it has, or in this case, probably doesn't have. So we'll jump in, we'll have a look around, and let's see how the airplane operates. Cool. So, yes, Blériot XI, built in 1905 by Louis Blériot. Operated, well, technically the plane only flew once because it started in Calais, flew to Dover, and then crashed on landing, but hopefully, touch wood, we'll be able to succeed landing. The actual departure itself departed just in the south of Calais, in a town called Sangatte, which, well, this here's the flight plan. So he departs, got caught in the winds, taken off course a bit, before having to make a left-hand turn, and at Dover, just outside of Dover. Looking for a gap in the White Cliffs, which we'll be crossing over, and then hopefully we'll be landing in a relatively safe rate. Departing the crack of dawn, relatively calm winds at the moment, so fingers crossed should be alright as well. And in regards to the aircraft setup, we'll be going through that as well. Now, controls. We have got rudder, so if I go to this view, we have got rudder. We have got elevators, but ailerons we do not have. There's a control pulley inside the aircraft, which is operated by this, what can only be described as a umbrella handle, and that manipulates the entire wing. No ailerons, move the entire wing. As a result, controls aren't exactly the most in tune. It's not going to be the most easy aircraft to fly, but hopefully we should be able to get something out of this relatively fun. So we'll jump in the aircraft, we'll set everything up, and we'll get ourselves flying in just a couple of moments. Like I say, you guys always tell me to fly more GA, less jetliner, so I thought I'd go to the extreme and fly this. This, by the way, is the Wing42 Blériot XI. It came out a couple of months ago, but it's a very fun little aircraft to fly. I mean, it's all there, including your I believe there's a fuel tank there. On the left, you got your oil system. There's your fuel tank pump into there. Mixture to our right, throttle to our right, and then that, I believe, is a depressing handle. Don't quite know what it does, but it does something. And no engine starter, you have to physically crank the propeller and get it going. Also, this is what the Wing42 guy lovingly calls the RIP edition, because it comes with 3 editions. It gives you the... I can find it. Okay, I can't quite find it. Basically, there's 3 editions. You've got the super easy versions, get the basics, then you've got a more realistic version, and then this, the RIP edition, which is the, I guess, the most realistic of the lot, aka control-wise, don't expect much. Even the rudder is basically non-existent, such slow speeds. So turn the aircraft on, we'll get the chocks off. The aircraft is being held by chocks right now, and like I say, we are just to the south of the village of Sangatte, where I found this lovely runway-shaped field. I'm not quite sure exactly where the aircraft departed from. The actual town itself is just to our right over there somewhere. There you go, just about to see the buildings. And to our left, there's a series of cliffs. And somewhere on this cliff is actually a statue of Blériot himself looking over towards the UK. So I presume it's around here somewhere. And this seems to be the easiest place to get ourselves going, as well as the slightly downward flowing runway. So we'll set the aircraft up, prepare ourselves for flight, and then we'll let the magic begin. So first things first, we will open up the oil pump. So the mixture put it towards us, activate that, put a little bit of throttle in, and now we hand crank the propeller. There we go. Hopefully that should come to life now. Make sure that the audio's a bit more mixed as well, because it's a little bit loud, aircrafts. Loud, but well, I guess back then there wasn't really much soundproofing. Right, well, the engine seems running, the engine seems stable. We're going to release the chocks. There's no brakes, by the way. No brakes in this thing. We release chocks, and then we get going. So, chocks released. Increase throttle. And now, using whatever rudder we've got, keep the aircraft stable. Picking up speed is a difficult bit, but once we're airborne, it's a challenge in itself. Oh, there we go. There we go, right. So no ailerons again, we are having to physically bend the entire wing to get this aircraft flying straight. You can just about see the UK on the horizon there. With its fancy square propeller. Fancy square body, fancy square wings. It's just a bunch of rectangles that just about flew. Blériot, by the way, he lived until 1960. So he built this aircraft, the Blériot XI, which made him world famous. He then sold a fair few of them as an aviation company. Fought in World War I, I believe, as well. And then died of a heart attack in Paris in 1960. But he was an aviator through and through his entire life. Also, well, bicycle wheels at the bottom of this thing, so hopefully provide us some comfort when we get there, if we get there, of course. This is the Blériot XI. Blériot XI. Sunrise is pretty though. Now, this aircraft does not like to fly in a straight line. So what I'm doing is I'm ever so slightly manipulating the ailerons, well, the wings. I'm just putting a little bit of rudder in, just to get the aircraft flying in a straight line. Just to the left, that's just prop drift in action, but it's not the easiest. Yeah, packs. I'm sure we get as much enjoyment out of it as possible with packs. We're going to hear that the entire live. Hear what? Lazy? Oh, it's stable. The question is, for how long? If I let go of the controls for even a second, this aircraft starts to drift out. And every few moments as well, the rudder puts, well, not much of the rudder, but there's a gust of wind that kind of shifts the aircraft to the side slightly. You just have to counter it. You just have to counter it. Oh, no trim, by the way. There is no trim, so everything I'm doing today is as manual as it gets. But hey, again, scenery's pretty. Must be boring flying without autopilot. Quite the opposite, Beast Titan. You're doing so much more to keep this aeroplane going. It's not a free way to pay we're add-on, it's by Wing42. You can get it on the Wing42 website directly. I'll try and drop a link in the chats. Like I say, the moment I let go of these controls, the moment something's probably going to go wrong. No. Oops. And again, back then, mobile phone, well, there's no such thing as a mobile phone, it's the size of a room. I'll put a bit of rudder in, keep the aircraft from drifting. Remember, I need to keep the aircraft pointing at England. Come on, come on, come on, come on, come on. It's a bit wallowy now. Right, we've made the, we're now going slightly off course now. So I'm trying to make a left-hand turn. It says back towards the UK. So a little bit of rudder. A little bit of rudder. Just heading over there. There we go, there we go, there we go, there we go. Stop, 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 stop. Don't go too far. Don't want to go too far. Alright, Blériot Wing42. If I can get this link into the chat. Nope, that's YouTube music. Why's that ever? There we go. There we go, right, phone down. So again, ever so slightly drifting to the left there. I need to counter it to the right. Altitude, we're cruising at about 1,000 feet today. 1,000 feet. Speed, about 50-ish knots. 50-ish knots. Reduce the throttle ever so slightly, just conserve fuel on this thing. Should have enough fuel to get there. Again, the more we kind of, well, the more we fly in the wrong direction, ultimately the more fuel we burn, and therefore less chance for us getting there. Again, don't go too harsh, don't go too harsh. That's perfect. That is perfect. Got to remember, back in 1909, when this thing first flew, this was the norm for those who could afford to fly it. I mean, Boeing, I believe, was 1912 when the Boeing Type 1 was first produced. Fun fact, the Boeing Type 1 only exists because William Boeing, the original founder, was at an aviators club and asked around, could I fly aeroplane, could I fly aeroplane? When everyone said no, basically he decided to make his own aeroplane and fly it instead. A very good aeroplane, very popular, sold many, and the Boeing company was born. The Blériot Aviation Company, I'm not quite sure what it came up with after this. I mean, there were biplanes afterwards. There were a few orders for the Second World War. Sorry, First World War, sorry, not Second World War, Second World War beyond this. I think it was used as a bomber, actually, in the First World War, in a lot of cases. There's himself there in the cab of the aircrafts. So much to get going. So much. Down at Microsoft Flight yesterday, had a horrible time with the keyboard. Yours just wants to robust, seems she has to spend something much better experience. Yeah, I mean, any joystick is much better than keyboards. The Airbus stick from Thrustmaster, so it's a good choice. It's a good choice. I've heard good things about it. I've used its predecessor, the Thrustmaster T16000M, and it's a very good stick, so yeah, you can't really go wrong with the Airbus. I'm now using the Thrustmaster HOTAS Warthog, which, for something like this, probably a bit overkill. Again, umbrella handle for controls. So, it's gonna be a case of just getting this airplane to be where possible. And again, you guys keep telling me stop flying jets, fly something smaller. It's as small as you're going to get. Not real weather, no. So I've tried to get the weather as similar as possible to the day that Blériot himself flew the aeroplane. The negative side is that in terms of like the flight sim, the earliest you can go is 1992 in terms of the year. So flying in 1992, not 1909. But the weather and time was as close to original flight as possible. So you've got to remember back here, it's back here, yeah, no visuals, no maps, no aids. You just look at England, you see England, you're flying towards England, and so the White Cliffs is where our target is today. If you're able to explain, no, sadly there's not. So we're coming to a quarter or so with our crossing. A quarter of the way there. Yes, this is a French aircraft, Stanley. Blériot XI. Monitor size, 1080p. A 23-inch, I think. Flotation device? God no, Jackson. This is 1909. Although back then, the English Channel was full of boats wherever you went. Shipping was a lot more upscaled, a lot more steamships that used to cross the channel. These days, still busy. The English Channel is the busiest shipping lane in the world, but not as many boats now as you used to have. Since the OTC back then, people collided in mid-air with no traffic. So there were mid-air collisions. There were several mid-air collisions, but you are right, with less traffic, it definitely was less spot out for. At the same time, the less traffic, you're not so much aware of other planes in the area. So communication was not as strong. Can't even use drone cam right now because I'm so busy with the rudder. Welcome to this aviation, how you doing? Also, yep. This plane went at about 60 knots, I believe. 60 knots. Should fly to Sapporo, yeah, good luck. Cruising speed of 60 knots. Altitude about 1,000 feet. Give or take a few. Again, no gauges. You're just basing on what you feel like. What you feel like. You'd like to on a windy day. Yeah, good luck. It's possible. I mean, Blériot himself flew on a windy day and took him off course by several miles to the north, but he eventually got himself corrected, got himself flying towards Dover again. No, David, I'm not an live out. I'd be crazy to fly to an live out. Current speed about 60 knots. How much does this thing weigh? I believe it's like 500, 600 kilos. It's metal struts on wooden body with fabric wings. But you've got to carry, well, you've got to remember, you're carrying a massive metal propane fuel tank on the back, as well as, well, metal struts as well to keep the aircraft together. So there was a bit of weight in this, but certainly not over a ton. Do you know your landing zone? So it's somewhere near Dover Castle, but ultimately I'm looking for a flat field to land, or in Blériot's case, crash land. If we manage to land this in one piece, then we've actually done better than Blériot in real life. How does the fuel last in this aircraft? Well, we took off about half a fuel tank, which I probably should have filled up to max. In terms of fuel, not doing too bad. Oh, there we go. Empty weight, 507 pounds. 507 pounds. Let's race this thing. Fuel-wise, should be alright. becoming a little bit more stable now. I think as I slowly get used to the controls, it becomes less and less difficult. Just under a third of the way there right now. Just under a third of the way. Sounds like a stall. Yeah, that was the life. And don't forget that Wright Brothers Wright Flyer, which was 8 years before this, and even less in regards to control. I mean, everybody knows that the Wright Brothers Wright Flyers were the first to fly, but in reality the French unofficially beat them to it. The Wright Brothers were just the first to fly with a camera to take photos of it in the air. There are some people that say the French have been flying since 1892, so it predates the Wright Brothers by 9 years. With so much time having passed, it would be kind of impossible to say, but officially the Wright Brothers have got the first flights. Ah, very nice, Dan. We see you on iVal, hopefully with ATC soon. Not in this thing though. ATC, it's a myth. And is slowly cramping up. It's not just crap, I think what's been holding onto this stick for so long, and it's a proper metal build, this Thrustmaster, so you gotta keep on it. Can you lessen it? Of course you can, of course. Thank you there, Danny, for the £5, much appreciated. Thank you for the support. You see that aeroplane up there on the donation thing? It's a Latitude CJ4. Compare it to this thing. How many years? 50, 60 years between the two? 60 years ago from balsa wood and steel girders to something a lot more modern. How many buttons does this have? Let's go through more, shall we? So you got oil, behind there's a lever for fuel tanks, that's a mixture, that's a throttle, that's a engine cut-off switch, I now know, thank you. That's about it really, no brakes, no nothing. Cool, almost cut the engines there. Welcome JVA, how you doing? England doesn't look any closer when we first took off. Well, we're about we're just under halfway there now, ish. Yes, super, this is Microsoft Flight Sim 2020 at its absolute limit of greatness. You'll never see anything more technologically advanced, that's for sure. Love nice vintage craft, would love to see him. Yes, a Spitfire would be fantastic. Although I've always been more of a Hurricane person. I've always preferred the Hurricanes myself. One thumb on the right shows a middle finger. What are you looking at? I don't see that one. KTC, climb to flight level 120. Come on, I'm getting a little bit of sway now. If I had trim, I'd counter for it. I don't have trim, so there's nothing for me to counter with. Concorde's coming. Concorde's coming. It's been developed by DC Designs alongside Just Flight, who hope it's out soon. It's just a case of waiting for Microsoft Flight Sim to release its Mach 1 speed limits. Thank you there, Robert, for the 50 knock, much appreciated. Thank you very much. Good luck. Oh yes, we're going to need it today, my friend. We're going to need it. See a bit of icing. Got your anti-ice on. Anti-ice, use a squeegee, you have to rub it off yourself. Do you plan to crash land at real life? We'll see, Narrow, we'll see. The first challenge is to get there, which at the moment is doing alright. But ultimately, how will it go? Without this, we wouldn't have the A320 or 737 to reflect them. Absolutely, absolutely. Again, first aircraft to cross the channel without, well, officially, it's the first flying vehicle heavier than air or something like that. First flying vehicle heavier than air to cross the channel. I use standard OBS, Harrison, not Streamlabs OBS. Standard OBS. With a few fancy overlays. So now old lady won at 11 o'clock. Man, what's that boat? So much more modern compared to what I'm flying right now. Does that come from the future, or have we gone back in time? Which airport took off from? We just took off from random fields near the French coast. Don't forget, back in 1909, there was no such thing as an airport, and therefore you took off wherever you wanted, you landed wherever you wanted. Although some aerodromes had started to appear around the world, because they slowly increase as aviation became a lot more readily available. Will there be blimps Microsoft flights? I'm not sure about... Actually, yes. Yes, there is a blimp in Flights Not 2 through mod. How's the original flights? About 55 minutes. 55 minutes. Now almost halfway there. Still just about flying en route. Still just about going in the right direction. No autopilots, I wish. Ooh, here we go. Right, so the winds have changed now. They are being pushed slightly more to the north of where we need to be going at. So just a case of countering it, keeping the aircraft stable. And eventually there'll be a break in the wind, which kind of gets us a bit more back on course and route. How fast going? About 60 knots. Blériot arrived in Dover, clothed in his cork jacket and overalls. Oh yeah, so I got a fight with him at the end of the stream to enjoy when things come to an end. There we go, the winds are really starting to kick up now. Update the feature next, Tom, and your 747 FMS is fixed. Update your mods, people. Stop using out-of-date mods. Hounslow Heath Aerodrome was the first airport. Yes. Yes, it was. No, actually, no, it wasn't. I'm sure there was one in South London that opened first. Not Gatwick. Denham came in 1911. 1911 Denham Aerodrome opened. Not Denham. It's where the RAF Museum in London is. Boy. It's near Edgware. What's the RAF Museum near Edgware? That was the second airport to open up. The first, somewhere in South London, I can't quite remember. Hendon, that's it. Hendon. How's it powered? Well, you've got an engine at the front. So you've got an engine there. You've got your oil feed there. You've got your fuel reserve coming out the back of a propane tank at the rear. And well, that's about it really. It's a basic engine that powers the propeller up front. Not Biggin Hill. Not Duxford. It's Hendon, and it's near Croydon, past South London airports. Welcome Aviation 9, how are you doing? Welcome to the chat, how are you? Should be easy to butter. We'll see, we'll see. How high roughly? We're somewhere between 1 and 2,000 feet. I'd say towards the lower end of that spectrum, 1,000 feet. Cruising about 60 to 70 knots. True gentleman transportation vehicle, of course. Of course. Never see something more advanced. Actually, for a while, this was one of the best-selling aircrafts in the world, the Blériot XI. Once the aircraft had crossed the channel, it was like a proving flight for it. Blériot, like I say, he went into aircraft production, and I think he ended up with 23 of these, I think. Could be overestimating a bit. Model 11 that crossed the channel, but we definitely developed it more, made it more simple to use. How much longer? I'm not sure. It's not exactly easy to tell time with this thing. Apologies if I don't answer all the questions in the chat. A lot of my flight today is a lot more concentrating than usual. Instead of autopilot, sit back and relax. With this, it's proper. Keep this thing flying. Isn't the A380 the working cockpit the best in your opinion? Which one, Captain ACQ? Which one? Amazing how far? Yes, 100 years. We've gone from this to double-decker, full-size commercial jetliners that can fly halfway around the world. How times change. We're not starting at any airports, we're not ending at any airports, Mitchell. We'll take off in a field, we're landing in a field. 101. Fair play to her, Martin. 102 next to May. How do they know if it's in the right direction? Because you can see England from here. Because the wind's in a slightly wrong course, but in a couple of moments when the winds change again, hopefully, make a left-hand turn and find ourselves a gap in the cliffs of Dover to allow us to get us into the route. Is there a compass in cockpit navigation? No, Andy. This is not that technically advanced. Come on, compass is way in the future. Autopilot on. Technically the Z key is autopilot, but doesn't do anything as you'd expect. I'm waiting for the winds now. Waiting for the winds. Another gust. Small gusts. They just need to manage. Take care, you one. Take care. Was it 60 kilometres, sorry, not knots. Cheers to that, Hemp. Hemak, sorry. 60 kilometres an hour. Alright, so the winds have changed now. The aircraft is pushing a lot more to the left. So what I'm going to do is make a left-hand turn now. Ever so gracefully tune it. Right, try and level it off again. we kind of go. So far, so good. About 32 knots. 32 knots. There you go. Once turned the wing, so it does tilt the aircraft, not by very much. So again, you're bending the whole wing as a surface, not the ailerons you'd expect. So you are physically bending the shape of the airplane, which gets you your left and right turns. It's not quite as graceful though. The rudder plays a big part in this airplane straight. Because you're flying off a mountain. Well, I can't remember who flew it, but there was a famous crash by an Italian aviator who flew a Blériot model. It was a later one, but he was going to be the first person to fly across the Alps. He got about halfway, and then I believe he ran out of speed, stalled and crashed, and died of his injuries several hours later in a Swiss hospital. I can't remember who it was, but yes, another famous tale of days of old aviation. Not Wright Brothers Aviation, this is about 8 years newer than the Wright Brothers aircraft. This is the Blériot XI. Built by... hang on, I'm doing wrong. Okay, sorry, yeah, so this is the Blériot XI aircraft built by Louis Blériot, 1909. And again, I'm playing the RIP edition. This is technically the hardest version of all the airplanes that's on this add-on. The Wing42 Blériot XI. Alright, so we need to get ourselves heading on a direct course now for Dover. Get ourselves back in land relatively soon. The wind tilt's satisfying. Yeah, I remember when everyone talks about the wing tilts on A320, that was annoying, and this thing is awesome. Come on. Almost there. We are very nearly almost there. Famous last words. Do you think glides come to Microsoft 2020? I think there is a glider somewhere already, Martin. I don't know if it's a payware or freeware, but I have seen images of one. There's an add-on somewhere. The only question is, can you tow it? I was gliding back in March last year, just for the first lockdown. Went up to Scotland, met up with a friend who's a member of a gliding club over in the Cairngorms. Good experience, good experience. Certainly interested to find aircraft with no power before. Properless flights. Was that at Orange? So he made the flights but crashed on landing, died of his injuries. Because again, he was famous for that reason, so perhaps he was the first to successfully do it, but ultimately failing at the last hurdle. A bit of a crosswind now. Tiny bit of a crosswind. Making small movements, keep the aeroplane flying stable, straight. I have tried the working titles for stage before. Haven't streamed it yet, but I have tried it. It's a very good aeroplane, that. Very good work's been done to it. Proper VNAV simulation as well. Look at that working. It's a good aircraft. It's a good aircraft. I do plan to stream it at some stage in the future. Yes, Doverport is now en route. We're now visible just up ahead. And then over the land, we need to make a left and head over Dover Castle. We'll be landing not too far from. Like I say, what we're looking for is a nice open field to bring it down. Now this would eventually to an end. So far so good. Aircraft's doing its thing. Doing alright. Just think that aircraft can cross channel now in about 5 minutes. 40 minutes in. Still not quite there yet. Welcome Darren, how are you doing? Welcome channel to the chats. Maybe that's next group flights. We'll see, we'll see. Yes, next group flight everyone. Find the Blériot across the channel. Be there or be square. Very nice garlic. Hope the tutorial you find helpful. So I really want to use drone cams to get some fun footage. Problem is, this aircraft is so volatile in controls. The moment you let go, you start to lose it a bit. There's Blériot in his creation. That's about as much as I'm going to get in terms of drone cam today. Alright, so looking for a gap in the. There we go, I see the gap. So you've got the white cliffs there, just in the middle, cliffs lower, and that's what we're aiming for. To our left, that's Dover Port. We're looking for the castle to fly over and near. Oh, not liking that at all. Oh shoot. Oh no, that's ooh. Lost rudder control for a second. Alright, well, we're back. We are back. I'm not sure if that was rudder control, we just had a slight draft from somewhere. I had momentarily lost control of the aeroplane, which was not a fun experience. Sweat on stick is real. It's full metal, I hope it doesn't rust. Sailors wear beards, pilots wear moustaches. Ah, Wing42, there you are man, how you doing? Loving it so far. This is the RIP edition, this is the most difficult. Done alright so far. Just about to reach the UK coastline. Well, we now need to look for Dover Castle. Flip on 21. 38, not yet, Eric. Not yet. Still on the 1660. Yeah, the ETA thing at the top there. I'm not going to go for, because again, we're not flying from airport to airport. We're flying from field somewhere in France to field somewhere in the UK. Alright, so there's the ports to our left. Dover Castle. I'm trying to remember where Dover Castle is. I know I can whip out Google Maps, and if I did, well, again, my phone's not going to allow me to, well, I let go of this, everything goes wrong again. It's only rather QNH, I wish. Do you have better seams over yet? No. Not yet, Wing. I don't know, because the UK update's coming out on the 26th, don't forget. Yeah, I've got the UK updates coming out. Then again, we're not sure which landmarks, not sure which airports they'll cover yet. Hopefully we'll get some photogrammetry over London. There is a freeware mod for photogrammetry in London on Flight Simulator 2. I've used it. I want to use it. It's just too heavy on the VRAM for me. Too heavy on the VRAM. It slows things right down. So we'll see how the photogrammetry looks. If it's alright, we'll keep it. If not, once the TOT gets here, we'll go for a bit of an upgrade. Right. I'm sure that when this guy flew over here in 1909, Dover coastline looks very different. Very different to what we're looking at right now. So I believe that's the castle right there, on top of the hill that overlooks the city. We'll be landing in just a couple of minutes. Just a couple of minutes. Well, there are no excuses. Again, don't forget, in real life, Blériot crashed his aeroplane. He overturned it, ended up on its top. In fact, it's a known fact that it was saying that, I can't remember the exact saying, basically Blériot used to crash so many of his aeroplanes, he's one who created the term a crash landing. We'll reduce the throttle ever so slightly now. Not idle it. If we idle it, no power's going to the throttle. Engine shuts off. But we are getting ready to potentially start our descent soon. Yeah, Dover Castle looks to be a series of apartment blocks. I'm going to land on that darker field right there. Straight lines to act as like a runway guidance for us. The big question is, how do I stop this thing knowing that there are no brakes? It'll be an uphill landing. That's the fun little extra. If I can land it successfully, I'd have done better than Blériot himself did 1 years ago. Nope. 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 We top and turned it. The Blériot 11. What a craft. What a craft. Well, what can you say? What can you say? It's fun little aircraft. It's very different to modern day controls. Don't forget, you bend the whole wing, not just the ailerons. Just like good old Louis. There you go. I think you there sum up the best wing. Just like good old Louis. So, yeah, I guess that really brings us to the end of our flight today. So there you are. That's Louis Blériot on the left after landing here in the UK. That's his overturned Blériot XI, having just done the same thing, flipped it over, having landed in Dover. And that brings us to the end of our stream today. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was the Wing42 Blériot XI. I've dropped the pinned comment link to his aircraft there if you want to download it. I've also dropped a link in the description as well, so that's all there. 18 quid I believe it costs. Let me just double check. It costs €19, €19.99. Available for Microsoft Flight Sim. It's a very different experience to any modern aircraft you get in this sim. And, well, if you want to try something a bit more old school cool, then this is the one for you. Thank you for watching, guys. You take care of yourselves. I shall leave you to Louis Blériot with his overturned 11. The sound of the aeroplane itself falling apart. Take care, guys. Have a good one. Thank you very much for the support. And I shall see you again later. Have a good one. Bye-bye.